Good morning. So this is a project. Good morning. So this is a lighting project we did. The customers have it's painted the ceiling, cleaned everything up as we put in chalk lines to make sure everything was straight and got everything just right. So I will have pictures of those all on and everything, but I wanted to give a layout of what you're doing a 3 and 4-way switches. So we come in. This is an entrance to the house on one end of the house, and we can get clear to the other end of the house without ever having to backtrack. Okay, so we've got, this is our inside switch here. So we flip this, and the lights here come on. Okay, so you walk into the house, you immediately have light here in this room that you're walking through. You walk over to the here, you flip this switch here, which gives you light in the next room. Then we have this switch here. You hit that, and this room turns off. So you don't have to come back to it. So now we're coming over here. You're trying to get back clear to the other end of the house in the hallway. Now my hallway lights are already on, but we've got this switch right here. And then flip it off, those are on. Now, this switch was already on, but see, you can shut them off. Now I'm gonna turn it back on. It's gonna go into, these have night lights, so sometimes they flip on. So you would flip that on, flip off the dining room, you come down here, you go into the bedroom, and flip this switch, and now we have light in this room. Okay, then right outside the door is the 3-way for the hallway. So we flip this switch, and the hallway's off. Now we placed it out here because there's also a bedroom here. So if you're coming out this bedroom, you don't want to have to go clear into the master bedroom. There's a bedroom here, and so it's not too far away. As you can see, this is the edge of this room to there. It's only about 5 foot. I would not have minded putting another one in, but 3-ways are expensive, and so it just wasn't worth putting another one when there is a switch just 5 foot away. So we were trying to control costs to a certain extent, but this way you have a chance to turn on this hallway light, and it's just the reverse. You're in the bedroom, here's the hallway light, you flip that on, your bedroom light is on, you flip that off, now you walk out, say you're going outside the front door, okay? So you flip that switch, those lights turn on, you turn off the hallway. So now the hallway is off, as you can see. Then we walk over to this door, say it's nighttime, the lights outside are off. This switch here is outside lights. And let's see, we turn off our hallway. So these are our hallway lights. These have night lights. If you turn them off and then back on real fast, they go to night lights, which are real dim, but really nice. Then we have our dining room lights. They switch from here as well. So see now, then you can do those as night lights as well. All of these have night lights, which the customers found extremely convenient. They like to leave them on at night. That way when they come out, they're not coming out and it's pitch black, but they're also not wasting a ton of electricity. They basically just have some night lights on. So you're now over here. We open the door, we come over. Here's our switch. You flip off the lights, and maybe you leave the hall lights on because you're getting home when it's dark. You've got the porch light right here is on. And so now, you're set to go. You just go ahead, close the door, all your lights are off. So you've got a setup where wherever you're going from on the primary pass from the master bedroom at the far end to the exit at the opposite end or the front door, you don't have to backtrack to turn off lights. Now the kitchen, we did intend to add another 4-way in this case to turn on these lights here from over here, but the customer decided they just weren't interested. They wanted to get the project finished, and that hadn't been part of the original, so we talked about it. They were just like, you know what, it's not worth it. So you flip on the light here, and again, just going the opposite direction. You can do it either way. You come in here, you have your hallway light. They haven't finished remodeling this room. Flip it on this light, then you flip off this light and you go out the back door. So it's a pretty straightforward. You open the door. When you go out, you flip this switch again and it's dark again. So you can go through the entire house without having to backtrack and walk through the dark. That's the big thing. They have a kid, so there's going to be toys on the floor, you know. There's going to be a dog sleeping in the middle of the floor at some point. If you don't see him, you're going to trip over him. Somebody's going to get hurt. And so with this 3-way and 4-way system, you're able to flip on lights from pretty much anywhere that's convenient in this case. And so this system has, the dining room is switched from 3 places. The living room / family room is switched from 2 places, and everything's to here, nothing over there, because that was actually more out of the traffic pattern. You're either coming from here, which is going to take you straight across to these switches, and then these, we also did this here. We also installed dimmers on most of these. So like these are on dimmers. Oh, sorry, that's the dining room. So we can dim them, put them up to full. The living room can also be put up to full, or just dim them, or just kick them on to the nightlight, which can also be dimmed. So if you want real dim, so you're watching TV, that was the nicest thing. This way you've got enough to see the ground, but you're not really going to interfere with the TV's view. There is, if you can see it there, there's a slight, so you might want to shut that off. But when the TV is on, you're barely going to see that. You know, if you're watching whatever it is, the light from that is going to mostly cover up that small reflection. But it's much worse. Let's see, stick everything up to high, turn it back on. But that's quite a bit worse reflection there. Now you've got the star shape on it. It's reflecting everything. So that's what we were trying to avoid, was give you a chance to have something real dim so you can still see, but have the ability to not interfere with the TV. And the other thing you could do is put these fully on dim and just shut those off. And then you don't get any glare. So this room is off, but the next room over is giving you just enough light to light up this room. Now it's not nighttime, so I can't really show what this looks like at night, but there's just enough to get from this chair where I'm sitting, where the dog is now sitting on my feet, to get over to that switch without killing yourself. And that's what we're after. We don't want you tripping over things. That is a safety hazard we're trying to deal with. And so that's the goal, is to make sure you can safely get from one end of the house to the other and not have to backtrack. So turn those on. There we go. And it's time for bed. So now going from right there, we come over here. Let's see here. Turn off that, flip off that, and now you're in the hallway again. So as you can see, this is just working from wherever we need it to. You come into the bedroom. Here we go. Bedroom light is on. Reach up, flip off that light, and it's time for bed. You close the door. They don't have one at present. They're still working on that. But now you're back in your bedroom. You get into bed, and you know, you do have to walk from here in the dark, but that's getting to be a little too detailed. The other thing we could have done for a really high end would have been, we could have put another 3-way, generally like right up there on the wall, but that looks kind of weird as well. So there's only so much you can do. That's where lamps next to the bed come into play. You turn those on, and then you flip this off, and then you'd get into bed, turn off the lamp, and keep going. And so that is our setup. Then we also give them hall lights here. This was just as an entryway. You know, you're coming in, all you're trying to do is grab, you know, keys or a purse or something. You don't need to turn on the whole thing. Plus, this whole section, if you're having Thanksgiving dinner or something, you know, you want this whole area lit up as well as possible. And this came out really well. If you notice, you can't tell where the lighting changes. So basically there's 2 tiny lights because they kind of became their own zone, but the lighting comes out, you can't really tell where the lights are different. So the light is the same here as it is over here. Now there's a little bit of light coming in through the window, but at night, you're not even going to see that. And so we got it really well balanced. And so I'm very happy with that. But this is what this room used to be like during the day. And see, as you can see, there's the fan light. There's, it's okay, but it's not something you'd want to try and read by. That's why we were really happy to be able to get this. And now you've got really good reading light, day or night. And we got these lined up. Let's show you the alignment here. Is so that this light right here is shining basically over your shoulder and head and onto your book. If you're reading, if you're using a phone, you don't really need it, but it gives you a good angle. And then you've got another one over here that's bringing light in at a 45 onto your page. And if you're sitting in this chair, you've got one that's actually just right behind you. It works really well to just light up the seating area, but we also light up this walk area because this is their small office area. So the walkway is also lit up because the lights are just over that. So they've got good light there. You've got good light on the computers. It worked out really well to do 6 lights in here in total. So 1, 2, 3, and then those 3 over there. So I think it came out really well, and this is the type of stuff we can get done for you. This is definitely more expensive than if we had just done a single switch for every single one, but I think it really came out nicely. Now, the other thing is we also put in this light here, which I believe is the last switch. Yes, it's been a little while since we wired these. I'm having to keep track. But this right here, I mean, this is enough light all on its own without any help from the others. However, with all these lights on, this is a really bright room, which is what you want. You're having, Thanksgiving dinner, it's middle of the night. You want enough night light to see by. You don't want to be squinting at your dinner. And so this room originally had no lights whatsoever. This is all our work. All they had was there was a switch over there next to the door that switched a plug. And so they had a lamp lighting up this entire room. That was their original design. And so we got rid of that and got them what I think is really good lighting. They seemed thrilled with it. Then the kitchen, we put in 8 of them, also with a dimmer. That is so that trying to get perfect lighting is nearly impossible. Everybody wants a different amount of lighting, and you want a different amount of lighting at different times. So their standard may actually be right here. This is what they like. And then they shut it off. They turn it back on. It goes back to the same thing right there. But when you're cleaning, you turn it up to high so you can see all the little spots on the counter. Make sure you're not missing anything. But I think it came out really well. There's a lot of light. There is a tiny bit, just a tiny bit of under cabinet shading, but there's not a lot you can do about that without actual under cabinet. But I'm quite happy with the shading only being right there. I mean, that's a total of roughly 6.5 inches. That is not bad at all. Now there's a tiny bit more shading down lower because one row of lights coming from the other side of the room makes this one. The ones coming from closer make this shading line here. But I think we did a really good job, short of actually doing under cabinet lighting, which is very expensive simply because it's time consuming. You gotta cut out tile and you gotta worry about breaking tile. And it's just one of those things that does not work terribly well or easily. It can be done, but it is difficult. Because if you're coming out through the wall, otherwise you have to come in through the cabinet, you're cutting that out. So you don't always have to cut tile, which actually in this case, I think we would come down from above. So no tile cutting actually on that one. But just anytime you're trying to get down these walls, and especially outside walls, are extremely difficult to get into, which is the reason we chose not to put a 3-way here for like the fan light. So you have these lights here, then we have the fan light, and then we have the fan itself. So you turn off these. The other thing we could have done was put a 3-way for the fan itself. So you could have turned it on over here, walked over to the door, and shut it off here. This switch here is for outside. However, outer walls are very difficult to get into. It requires basically cutting a hole in the sheetrock at the top of the wall up here so that we can drill up into the attic, and then we spend half an hour trying to get a wire up in there and then across. It's very time consuming. Then you also have patching costs, and the whole thing just becomes very expensive and time consuming for an outer switch. And they were just like, it's not a big deal. We don't use it that much at night. Like, they don't go out that way at night. They have a car out here, so that's why they really wanted this one. But this one, the ceiling, let's see, the ceiling is vaulted up this way, so we can go straight up into the wall. There's space above that, whereas out here, the ceiling comes down and it essentially pinches into a V, and there's no room there. So it's going like this on that wall, and there's no room to drill down. Up here, we had room to drill down, so we just drilled down, took it from a single gang, which is one switch for the outside light, added in a 3-way for this inner light, and just in the end, it came out really well. So if you would like something like this, you can get a hold of us, ask us to come take a look. And we have cheaper setups than this. Like, we can do just single switches, no 3-ways or anything, because 3-ways are extremely time consuming. They probably paid, I don't know, extra $1,000 for all the 3-ways. What most people don't realize is that for a single switch, you run a wire up to a light and you're done. The wiring's simple. There's no keeping track of anything. For 3-ways, we ran, we'll use the kitchen as an example. Just on this one, we used a wire from this switch over to the switch on the other side and then up to the lights. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but like this one is a 4-way. So we have wires running from here over to this switch here. Then we have wires coming clear over here to this set of switches on the far side. And then all of that has to be wired. All of it you have to keep very close track of all your wiring to make sure it gets done correctly so it works when you're done. It takes a lot of time to get all that done. And so it's just very time consuming. It takes about an extra day just for all that wiring compared to what it would have been if we had just done a single switch. But as you can see, you can walk in to this house from pretty much any point and have lights on. And then you don't have to walk clear back to the front door to turn lights off when you're going to bed, and then walk clear back through the house in the dark. So this is how you do a quality setup for lighting. And so that's what we went for, with a few places that this 3-way was not super important. They didn't want it. So they just, don't even worry about that one. Don't worry about a 4th switch here. They're taking this wall out at some point, so they were just like, you know what, no point in paying extra money for a switch that's going to be gone in a little while. However, the 3-way for the kitchen was important to them because they'd have to go clear back to the other side of the kitchen to turn that light back off. So this is that project, and I think it came out really well. They also had a really good painter to paint, like good texturing and stuff, and I have a guy who did the texturing on this one. He did a really good job. They had a separate painter that they already knew, and so they used that, but I think it came out really clean. It just did really well, and the night lights can be requested. They are slightly more expensive. I think it's only a few dollars per light, but it does give you that, option of, let's find the switch here and we'll turn him on to the night lights. Turn it on, turn it off, then turn it back on real fast, and you get the night light option. And it's just a nice amount of light. So they like to come out first thing in the morning. It's still dark and get coffee, but they're tired and they don't want full lights on blinding them first thing in the morning. So they haven't had their coffee yet. So, they can just turn on the night lights and come out. Their kid doesn't have to be blinded first thing in the morning. you know, they've been really enjoying those. So they've been leaving on strategic lights, and then, you know, they could leave them all on, they could leave none of them on. So it's up to them. Go through here, turn off all the lights, but this is a project I'm quite proud of. We spent a lot of time here trying to get it just right. So anyways, you can give us a call. It's Agley Electric. And I will you'll have all the details. This is going up on our website, and I may put this up on YouTube. And if I do, you'll have our contact information there. So if you're in our area, you can hire us. If not, you can hire us as consultants. Just ask us what we think. You know, that's up to you. If you just need somebody to, you know, bounce ideas off of, I do have to charge for my time, but, you know, I don't mind helping people plan stuff. I quite enjoy that part of things. So anyways, have a great day. Bye.